2 weeks ago, I made a video judging Trader Joe's products the way I judge people. This week, I planned on making a follow-up to that video with more Trader Joe's products. However, in the time between that last video and now, the CEO of grocery chain Whole Foods has said that he thinks that unhealthiness in America is due to personal choice and not whatsoever to structural inequalities. Again, this is the CEO of Whole Foods, the chain that has the $70 Manuka honey. So in order to control my bubbling rage towards the CEO of Whole Foods, I have decided to make a video where I judge Whole Foods products like they're people. Let the roasting begin. Veganic sprouted ancient maize flakes. So it's cornflakes. It's literally cornflakes. Veganic is not a word. It's not a word. Veganic sprouted ancient maize flakes is someone who, when you ask them what they do for a living, they give an answer that makes it sound way more impressive than it actually is. Like, they call themselves an entrepreneur, but in reality they resell their mom's stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Actually, on second thought, that's not a bad side hustle. Hey mom, do you have anything I can sell? Harmless coconut water. Why does it have to clarify that it's harmless? You know who this is? I think you know exactly who this is. This is a nice guy. Not as in a guy who does nice things, but as in a guy who constantly has to clarify that they're a nice guy. Like, harmless coconut water gives blood to the Red Cross, which is great, but then harmless coconut water will keep that arm bandage they give you on for like 2 full weeks, just to make sure that everyone they know knows that they gave blood to the Red Cross. And you're left wondering, like, why does harmless coconut water feel the need to show off their good deeds at every turn? And then a few years later, you find out that harmless coconut water is one of those dudes who keeps, like, a camera in a public restroom. A $6 bag of pine cones? A $6 bag of pine cones. Okay. I know that the point of this video is to compare the products to people, but this is not a person. $6 bag of pine cones is an event. And by an event, I mean that $6 bag of pine cones is one of those, like, wilderness retreats that cost $2,000 that, like, wealthy white people go on to get back in touch with nature. And, like, on this back to nature retreat, which is obviously run by some company like Goop, the whole selling point is that you'll be roughing it and, like, killing squirrels in the woods, or, you know, they're vegan, so, like, killing mushrooms in the woods, I guess, and there's no, like, heat or air conditioning or, like, cell service, and they do activities like swamp meditation and forest bathing, and none of the people who paid for this retreat realized that they could have just gone into any woods for free and done all of the same shit. Alright, this looks like a collection of olive oils of some sort from different parts of the world. Now, if you watched my Trader Joe's video, you probably think I'm about to compare these olive oils to a sorority. But no, these boys are a fraternity. Now, these boys never smile in pictures, but they do tell each other they love each other when they're high on Molly, and then deny it the next day. They also all smell different, yet mysteriously the same, because they only own 1 stick of Axe deodorant between the 5 of them. Alright, this next product is called Good Soap. Again, why do these products have to clarify that they're good and harmless? It's a little suspicious, Whole Foods. You know what? Good Soap is your mom's friend from women's group who always wears a sarong, and she's very, like, adamant that it is a sarong and not a scarf. And the last time you ran into Good Soap was at the blenders section in Williams-Sonoma, and you tried to hide the fact that you were just in there to shove samples of cranberry bars into your purse, but she knew. She knew what you were doing there. And as you make your way from the blenders section of Williams-Sonoma to the artisanal jam section, Good Soap asks you if you're still working in retail, to which you reply yes, and she says, "Good," in a way that sounds more like, "Good, my children are more successful than you." That's the tone of the good on Good Soap. Brownie batter hummus. Now remember that in my Trader Joe's video, chocolate hummus was the high school teacher who was kind of inappropriate. I think brownie batter is like a level above that. Brownie batter is the college professor who fucks her students. That's brownie batter. Guacamole. guacamole. It's guacamole with kale? Okay, so it's not just Trader Joe's who's putting kale in literally everything. You know, this is another one that's not a person. This is an outing of some kind. You know what? Guacamole is a mandatory work party. You know what I'm talking about, like all the ingredients of fun are there. Like there's music, there's dancing, maybe there's even booze, but it's all null and void because you still have to keep on your customer service face the whole time. And while you'd rather like hide in a closet for a few hours or at the bottom of the sea for a few days than go to this party, you have to smile the whole time and be like, "Hi Gavin, how's the family? You write my paycheck." Edible flowers. See, flowers are one of those things you can technically eat, but you're really not supposed to. I don't care if they say edible, like, it's not really in the human diet. See, if edible flowers was a person, they'd be someone who takes the rules as a suggestion. Like, edible flowers would see a no trespassing sign and take it to mean no trespassing while someone is looking. And you know, you start hanging out with edible flowers and they seem fun, they seem whimsical. You break into a museum at night a la 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 Land and it seems like a good time, except one day you come across an unlocked BMW and edible flowers says, "Let's take it for a drive," and you're a little hesitant, but you want to be cool, you want to be liked by edible flowers, so you take it for a drive, and now you can't travel to several countries because you have a criminal record, while edible flowers somehow got off with a misdemeanor. Alright, this seems to be some sort of like bulk spices or grains in giant wooden barrels. And instead of reviewing the spices or grains inside the barrels, I'm just going to review the barrels themselves because they have a lot of energy. You know what? These barrels are the olive oils at their 15-year college reunion. And they're all like divorced, and they're like not too happy with their lives, so they decide for like one last hurrah to go party at their old fraternity. And they do, except this time they smoke some of that post-Y2K weed, and they get really high and tell each other they love each other, just like they did in college, except this time in the morning, they don't deny it. They admit that they love their brothers. Good for you, barrels. Emotional vulnerability. Emotional vulnerability. Oh, the hot bar. Remember the hot bar? Remember how food used to work before Corona? Yes, the hot bar. See, the hot bar is the opposite of edible flowers. Whereas edible flowers doesn't follow the rules, the hot bar follows all of the rules, but there's still something a little off and sinister about what they're doing. Like, hot bar is the kind of person who pulls their shirt up over their face instead of wearing a mask. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen hot bar in CVS pulling his polo shirt up over his nose. And even though hot bar is like, "I'm taking this seriously," you can't help but wonder if when he gets into the frozen food section at CVS, he pulls down his mask and touches all of the DiGiorno pizzas. Alright, organic elbows and creamy cheddar sauce. This is mac and cheese. This is literally this is just mac and cheese. Okay, I'm not even gonna come up with a person for this one because this makes me physically upset. This is mac and cheese. Moving on. And finally, as featured on John Oliver, we have the famous $6 asparagus water, meaning just some pieces of asparagus in a plastic bottle of water. What is it with Whole Foods in charging $6 for useless shit? Like, is that the magical number? Marketing people, tell me. You know what? $6 asparagus water is Edible Flower's much, much older boyfriend who supposedly has a vacation home in Miami. It's a timeshare. And you let him hang out with your crew because, you know, he buys you the nice booze, he seems decently polite, but you kind of get a two-faced vibe from the guy. But you let it slide because Edible Flowers loves him. And then a few months later, Edible Flowers comes back from a carnival cruise crying because she found out that $6 asparagus water had young paramours all over the continental United States and some of the southern provinces of Canada. Alright, we've come to the end. Please comment, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, share it with your family, share it with someone you love. And if you liked this video, you might like my Trader Joe's video on the same subject. Please click that. It should be somewhere around here. Click it. Click it and I'll love you forever. Please. Please, please, click the video. My firstborn son is in the video and you have to rescue him. Click it. Please click.